Some of you may know me from The Amazing Race, or from ABC7 Chicago's Windy City Live, or from the Fox 32 Chicago News at Noon, or from Twin Doctors TV, or a whole bunch of radio appearances. But today I'm not that guy that you see or hear on TV, the internet, or the radio, and I'm not that guy who delivers babies for a living. Nope, today I'm just another customer who got f***ed by Farmers Insurance.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
No, I'm a virgin. No, don't do it.
It all started 3 years ago when my family's pool house roof suffered hail damage. Now, I really don't swim that much, but the kids loved the pool and they spent lots of time in it. So that meant that the pool house was important to me and my family. Well, after the hail damage that our pool house suffered, we filed a claim with Farmers Insurance, our insurer for over 10 years. Now, they insure our home, both of our cars, our condo in the city, and a rental property that we have. So, for the last 10 years, we've been pretty good customers, and Farmers has gotten a lot of money from us.
What you gonna do, Jerry?
Now, after filing this claim, bad news, Farmers told us. The manufacturer of your pool house has gone out of business, so we can't replace the damaged panels on your pool house roof. Uh-oh. Oh, no worries. Good news, they then tell us. Based on the language of your policy, if we can't repair the structure to make it like it was before the damage, we have to replace the entire pool house. Okay. And so in September of 2016, the teardown of the old pool house begins. Yeah, wintertime in Chicago was coming, and sure, one whole side of our house was exposed to the elements, and yes, that was a two-way fireplace that animals from outside could use to get into our house, and that our pets and children could use to get out of our house. But don't worry, we were told. The teardown will take a few days, and a week or two after that, the pool house manufacturer that Farmers helped us locate, no less, would have a brand new prefabricated pool house up and functioning.
Like sands through the hourglass, so are the days of our lives.
Well, the rest of 2016 came and went. 2017, it came and it went as well. 2018, much of it came and much of it went. Then, when all hope was lost, we finally got the permit from Lake County to rebuild the pool house. So what in the you're probably wondering took so long? Well, I won't bore you with the details here, but if you want to read a very detailed timeline of our nightmare, you'll find it here. Here's the Cliff Notes version for you. After the Farmers-directed teardown of the old pool house left our home vulnerable and exposed, Lake County refused to approve the permit needed to erect the new pool house. They cited concerns that the new pool house might adversely affect a nearby floodplain and nearby protected wetlands. With these pretty extenuating circumstances, Lake County put a hold on everything. Under the threat of a large fine if we continued to build, Lake County even placed a big red embarrassing stop work order on our front door for the entire world to see. Before we could proceed, they required that FEMA and the Illinois Department of Natural Resources get involved to determine how the floodplain and wetland might be affected by the new pool house.
Fighting the clock and every minute counts. Wait, they're all sloths?
But hey, until these agencies were willing to tell Lake County that they had the all clear to grant us the permit, Lake County was not granting the permit. Nothing we said, nothing we did mattered. So all of 2017 and much of 2018 was spent getting multiple land surveys, soil samplings, and engineering evaluations, all in the hopes that we could convince FEMA and the Illinois Department of Natural Resources to allow us to rebuild our pool house. Now mind you, during this entire nightmare, Farmers was involved in everything, step by step by step. They knew what was going on in large part because they had to pay for those land surveys. They had to pay for those soil samplings. They had to pay for those engineering evaluations. And I guess Farmers didn't like that too much because what they pulled next was like Limas pulling the football away from Charlie Brown.
This time I'm gonna kick that football clear to the moon!
Because of the time that it took for Lake County to finally grant the permit in the fall of 2018, Farmers wasn't going to pay on the remainder of our claim. After all,
so the rationale is this. The policy gives 365 days, period. It doesn't say but if this or but if that or if this takes for this long amount of time. It says period, 365 days, period.
That's right. Farmers has put language in their customer policies that states that they can refuse to pay on a claim if it takes more than 365 days for the repairs associated with that claim to be completed, even if those delays are due to permitting issues that are beyond the policyholder's control. Now, Farmers isn't required by law to do this, and they're not required by their own corporate policies to do this, but they've still put language in their customer policies that states that they can punish policyholders for delays that are due to no fault of their own.
And we're not at all saying that the delay is a result of you.
But we're the ones being punished, though, right? Because, I mean, like you're saying it's not our problem, which it's not. We've been with Farmers for a decade plus. We've got 2 cars, 3 properties with Farmers. We've been good customers, and it's not our issue. It's not our fault at all, as you all said. But at the end of the day, who will be punished by Farmers not, citing the technicality of the 365 days and not paying any more towards this project? We will be, right? Who's being punished by this? I am.
Okay.
Correct. So is there a duty of care to me if there's nothing that I did in Farmers?
No, sir.
Because the assumption is so Farmers has no duty of care towards me as their customer.
Farmers owes no duty of care to their customer.
Get out of my office!
Nice. Basically, if your repair is delayed by permitting issues, even though those delays cost Farmers absolutely nothing, Farmers can and apparently will duck out on their duty of care to their customers, exploiting a loophole in an effort to save a few bucks. So just remember, when you're filing an insurance claim, it's frequently at a time when you're at your most vulnerable and in need of an insurer that will stand by you through thick and thin. That is not Farmers. Shame on Farmers, shame on Robert Mucho, caveat emptor, buyer beware. Because when it comes to Farmers Insurance, you've been warned.
Right? So you have it at your you have it at your disposal to extend it again.
Not at this point, we do not.
Based on what?
Based on the fact that nothing extenuating has changed since 2017 when we initially extended it.
But that's not true. I mean, if you're looking at the timeline, you see that. I mean, that's just not true.
Sir, the decision's made. I
get that. But when I say stuff like that, saying that that's not true, if you look at the timeline, you can't just say, well, sir, the decision's made. I mean, if you're looking at the timeline, there's quite a bit that happened in 2017 that would be considered extenuating circumstances. That's when FEMA got involved. That's when the Illinois Department of Natural Resources got involved. Like, what do you mean that there's nothing that happened after that extension was granted that explains why we are where we are here now? There's a whole bunch that happened. Like, I mean, the fact that FEMA said that nothing could be done until the determination about whether or not it was in the floodplain, that is very extenuating. Like, we literally couldn't do a thing until FEMA gave us their blessing. And they wouldn't give us their blessing until soil sampling was done. And they couldn't do that because, I mean, like, there's a whole bunch that happened after that time that was quite extenuating. Like, what could we have done? Could we have built it? Could we have built it? No. But like, there were a whole bunch of extenuating. I mean, literally, that's why I asked that people look at the timeline. Because if you look at the timeline, a whole bunch of extenuating things happened after 2017. From FEMA to the Illinois Department of Natural Resources to the LOMA, to the first LOMA, to the denial of the second LOMA, to the soil sampling, to the stop order being put on our door. Like, a lot happened after 2017. But none of those things were considered to be extenuating by Farmers. And I'm asking, not a rhetorical question. I really want to know, because I'm trying to understand what went into this.
Based on the amount of time it took to get all that, no, sir.
So none of these are extenuating circumstances. And we say the amount of time, like
based on the time frame that they got involved to the time frame we got the information, no, so there's nothing extenuating to result in another extension. There
were multiple, like the delays in the soil sample. Like you
delays.
No,
you just said it yourself.
No. What you did is you took one word out of a sentence and you let me finish the sentence. I'm saying the delays in the soil sampling being done because the ground was frozen, is what I was going to say. That is not extenuating. Like, could we have done the soil sampling with frozen ground?
I don't know. I'm not.
Of course not.
I don't know what their guidelines are. I don't know what their guidelines are.
It's not a matter of guidelines. FEMA doesn't do the soil sampling. They tell you who can do the soil sampling. The people who came out to do the soil sampling said we can't dig in hard soil.
Okay.
Like, you get it. Like, I'm not a soil scientist either, but I get that. Okay. So that wasn't extenuating. So you say stuff like that. That's not a delay. That's not at least a reasonable delay. You can't analyze soil that's hard, and you can't dig in it, right? So what about this wasn't extenuating? Like, what about this didn't make sense? What about this was beyond the pale? None of this. Like, you basically wasted my time, had me go, write down this long time. I mean, clearly you guys didn't look at it, or if you did, you certainly didn't pay attention to it. I mean, That's not a delay. That's not a reasonable delay. FEMA said we have to have soil sampling to give you a disposition. Soil sampling can't be done because the ground is frozen. That's not hard to get. I mean, so there's going to be 3, 4, 5, 6 months. Like, that's not considered extenuating. So I guess my question is, did you guys not consider these things to be extenuating circumstances when you made that final disposition?
We did not.
Okay. How do you guys define extenuating circumstances? It's beyond your control, right? Can't control frozen ground. I mean that's but how do you guys define extenuating circumstances?
Mr. Jamil?
No, sir, just answer.
Mr. Jamil?
It's Dr. Jamil. Please, can you answer the question?
I'm sorry, Dr. Jamil. At this point, I'm done. I'm done answering questions. Okay.
Do you have no duty to me? Why are you done answering questions? Is there another time we can talk? And when would you like to talk again? I'm asking questions. Because you guys are saying that you made it. Hold on. You're saying that you made this decision because.
No, sir.
Hold on. No, sir.
No, sir. I've exhausted the explanation.
No, you haven't. I've got another question. For you. So you haven't exhausted it. So you just said the language you just used was you determined that there were no extenuating circumstances. That was the reason that you guys made the decision that you made. You guys determined that there were no extenuating circumstances. To cite something, you have to have a definition. How do you guys define extenuating circumstances?
It's on a case-by-case scenario. Okay,
there is nothing. No. How do you define extenuating circumstances?
I just answered you. It's on a case-by-case scenario.
No, I didn't ask how you apply it. I asked how you define it.
You're
telling me you apply it on a case-by-case basis. But how do you define it? How do you determine what's extenuating?
Okay.
I guess that's my question.
The decision is made.
I got that.
We are not extending
I get that. Let me tell you something.
I'm done with this conversation.
You can hang up on me?
I'm not answering any more questions.
Why not? Because I think you've. So let me tell you something. Illinois is a one-party state. This entire phone call has been recorded. You guys are going to be socially embarrassed, and you will see. Okay. Now you want to hang up on me, knowing that this is recorded and that this is going to be out there? I promise you'll be on ABC by next week. Are you going to hang up on me? That's all I'm asking. If not, will you tell me how you guys define extenuating circumstances?
At this point, we are going to
knowing that everybody's going to hear this. I'm not ending the conversation. Are you going to hang up on me? I'm not ending it. You're speaking for we. I'm not ending this conversation. I'm asking you how you guys define extenuating circumstances. No, you have not.
Because you applied. No, you said you applied that principle.
You said you apply that principle on a case-by-case basis. Great. That's how you apply the principle of extenuating circumstances. What I asked you was how you guys define, as a company, extenuating circumstances.
It's a case-by-case scenario.
No, that's how you apply it. How do you define it? A definition doesn't change. Red is red. It doesn't change. Blue is blue. It doesn't change. The definition. What is in the farmers?
There is no.
How are extenuating?
There is no defined extenuating circumstances within the policy. Okay.
No.
The circumstances are a case-by-case scenario.
So basically, what you guys are saying is you decide.
We've already extended it once for you. Now we are not going to extend it again. Okay. The claim has been ongoing almost 4 years. The policy has a 365-day deadline. Right. We have extended that for you already. We're not in a position to extend it again.
You have it at your discretion to do it again. So you have it at your discretion to do it. You've chosen not to.
And that request has been reviewed and it has been denied.
Okay. How do I get in contact with Lisa Rue?
Yes, I spoke with Mr. Mucho about this yesterday.
Okay. Yeah.
We are farmers, bum 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 bum.